The Constitution is clear. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 states that Congress has the power to declare war. Yet, the U.S. hasn't declared war since World War II, and American troops are fighting in what seems like never-ending battles in the Middle East. Is this what our founders envisioned? Will our founding document guide our future path with Iran? Find out in this episode of Analysis Behind the News, where we provide the perspective that you can use to help save American liberty and independence. Just so we're clear, let's read the exact verbiage of the power to declare war in the Constitution. Again, Article 1, Section 8 starts off with, the Congress shall have power to, and then it lists a number of powers, including Clause 11, which reads, to declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures on land and water. So let's go over each of these subpowers, if you will, found in Clause 11. To declare war. Alexander Hamilton is said to have explained this in a letter from 1801. He wrote, "The Congress shall have the power to declare war, the plain meaning of which is that it is the peculiar and the exclusive duty of Congress, when the nation is at peace, to change that state into a state of war." It should be obvious to observe that changing a nation of peace to a nation of war is quite the responsibility and not one to be taken lightly. The next is to grant letters of marque and reprisal, meaning that if war has been declared, Congress has the power to commission private individuals to hunt, harass, attack, or seize vessels of those to whom we are at war with. Now, this is a long recognized tactic of war. And the third and final subpower is to make rules concerning captures on land and water. This is what's known as the Captures Clause. An online abstract from DePaul Law Review suggests that this clause grants Congress the power for prescribing the rules under which enemy ships and prisoners could be taken. And the abstract also states that the value of captured ships was the chief means by which the early Navy and privateer system was financed. However, the early law of capture also concerned captured persons who could sometimes be redeemed for ransomed for head money, as they call it. Now, all of these Clause 11 powers are related with war, and these powers are vested into Congress, a body, rather than one person. The father of our Constitution, James Madison, explained this, and he wrote in 1793 that the power to declare war, including the power of judging the causes of war, is fully and exclusively vested in the legislature. The executive has no right, in any case, to decide the question whether there is or is not cause for declaring war. Now, he went on to further explain in a 1798 letter that he wrote to Thomas Jefferson, writing, "The Constitution supposes what the history of all governments demonstrates, that the executive is the branch of power most interested in war and most prone to it. It has accordingly, with studied care, vested the question of war to the legislature." Our earliest presidents understood this and specifically obeyed it. For instance, President George Washington stated in a letter in 1793, "The Constitution vests the power of declaring war in Congress. Therefore, no offensive expedition of importance can be undertaken until after they shall have deliberated upon the subject and authorized such a measure." Likewise, President Thomas Jefferson said in a message to Congress in 1805, "Considering that Congress alone is constitutionally invested with the power of changing our condition from peace to war, I have thought it is my duty to await their authority for using force in any degree which could be avoided. So compare that with what happens nowadays. Usually it's the president that orders military action while Congress takes to the floor of each of their respective chambers to either support or denounce the actions. About 5 years after World War II, our nation went to war in Korea, but there was no declaration of war. Instead, we sent troops based on a United Nations Security Council resolution that called for all UN member nations to send troops in to help stop the USSR stationed in North Korea from attacking the anti-communist South Korea, where the US troops had been stationed since the end of World War II. Of course, it didn't help that we also pointed to the North Atlantic Treaty Organization as another reason to get involved. The war was initially quickly won, but when communist Chinese troops started pouring into North Korea, our troops were denied taking out specific targets that would have stopped or severely hampered the Chinese troops from getting in country. For 2 years, our troops were hamstrung in following rules of engagement that brought the war to a stalemate that exists even to this day. 30,000 US troops are still stationed in South Korea. This marked a shift in American policy to follow the dictates of a globalist organization instead of obeying our constitutional limitations. A similar instance happened with Vietnam, and in 1973, 2 years before the end of that war, Congress passed the War Powers Act, which gave the president the right to use America's forces without declaring war and requiring that the president seek a congressional okay to continue using those troops. Since America no longer declares war, it has yet to fully win a war. And because of a lack of a clear objective that would be evident in a war declaration, the war on terror is still being fought in Afghanistan. At about 18 years, this has lasted longer than World War I, World War II, Korea, the Spanish-American War, the Civil War, the Gulf War, the Bosnian War, and the Kosovo War combined. Another shocking statistic is that since 2001, the U.S. has spent $6 trillion on wars that have killed about 500,000 people. America is much better than this. Our troops certainly deserve better. They should not be used to fulfill globalist objectives at America's expense. With all of the harping that is currently going on in Congress regarding curtailing of the president's war powers, all that Congress has to do is to undo what it has already done. Get rid of all the legislation that stands in the way of obeying Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11, that only Congress shall have the power to declare war. So to learn more about the Constitution, we highly recommend our DVD series called The Constitution is the Solution. This is written and narrated by Robert Brown, and the series runs nearly 6 hours long and covers essential information about the Constitution that every American used to know and needs to know to see our republic restored. And this has been so helpful that JBS members have used this series to hold thousands of workshops across the country to connect others with the basics of Americanism. And we've made it easy to use and understand by including a helpful instruction manual and lecture guides to accompany the 6 DVD set. A link is included in the video description, so please check out your options. And JBS members can access these videos online for free by logging into the members area. And if you're not yet a member, we invite you to apply for membership to discover our successful concerted action program that teaches you and others how to stand up for your rights. Again, we'll throw in the link in the video description. And please like, subscribe, and share this video with others. Until next time, we'll see you then.